Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. So in this video, we're still looking at GCSE problems. They're difficult problems. This would be a grade 9 question. So if you're really looking to be at the top of your class and sort of outperform your peers, then this is the type of question you need to be able to do. Okay, so these are what we call quadratic inequalities. So I'm just going to write that down in case you want to do some more practice afterwards. If you just Google search this, you'll find a ton of questions. Now, the difficulty with this one is, you may have seen these before, but the difficulty with this one is there's a 2 in front of the x squared. And if you remember, when we factorize a quadratic with a number in front of the x squared, it does become more difficult. So the first thing we're going to need to do is we need to factorize, if possible. Okay, if it doesn't, then we're going to need to look at another method. So let's consider this. Now, I'm not sure the way you have been taught, but the way I look at it is something called the AC method. So what I do is I do 2 times 9, which is 18, and then I want factors of 18 that multiply to give negative 11. So I'm thinking about my factors of 18, I could have 1 and 18, 2 and 9, 3 and 6, but because it's a negative 11 here, I think my factors are going to have to be negative, both of them. So negative 1, negative 18, negative 2, negative 9, negative 3, negative 6. Do any of these add to negative 11? Yes, they do, these two. Okay, so that's our two numbers. So what this allows us to do now is it allows us to break down negative 11x into negative 2x and negative 9x. So what we can now do is we can factorize this part and we can factorize this part separately. So let's go ahead and do that. So this first part, I'm going to get 2x, lots of x minus 1. Yep, and then in the second part, I think my common factor is going to be negative 9. I'm going to have an x and a minus 1, because when I times negative 9 by negative 1, I get back to positive 9. So altogether, this thing factorizes as 2x minus 9, x minus 1. Okay, and we can double check by expanding. That would give me 2x squared. That would give me positive 9, negative 9x, negative 2x. Good. So what this tells me now, if we go back to our inequality, which said this, let's check it was less than, it was, is that 2x minus 9 multiplied by x minus 1 has to be less than 0. Okay, step number 2, we're going to do a sketch. Remember, when you factorize a quadratic, it gives you the roots. So this bracket here gives me x equals 9 over 2. This bracket here gives me x equals 1. So my sketch of my quadratic, it's a positive quadratic still, is going to look something like this. Okay, where 1 and 9 over 2 are the roots. It crosses through positive 9 up here. Okay, so my sketch is a little bit off, but that's okay. It'll give us the idea. Now, we want to know where this graph is less than 0. So this graph is less than 0, all of these parts here. So we want an inequality that describes this region. Okay, so an inequality which describes that green region, clearly x is going to have to be bigger than 1 and x is going to have to be less than 9 over 2. Okay, now these are two separate inequalities. We can actually combine them, because if you think about this on a number line, here's 1, here's 4, here's 5, here's 9 over 2. We want everything in there. Okay, so another way we could write this inequality is as follows. 1 is less than x is less than 9 over 2. That would be our final answer. That is all the value of x which satisfy this inequality. Okay, really hope that was helpful. Please drop a like if you enjoyed.